fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
When I started in show business, it was a completely different industry than it is now.
How do you stay relevant and keep building a career in an industry where stability is a myth? Paul F. Tompkins knows better than most. Success doesn't mean security.
The thing I never got taught. At the time when things were going really good in the TV industry for me, where I was working, things would come and go, but there was always in the back of one's mind that something will come along.
Paul F. Tompkins has been a fixture in comedy for decades, but even he has had to reinvent himself to survive in an industry that keeps shifting under his feet.
Now, I don't think you can say that. I think you have to be the thing that comes along.
Paul's story might make you wonder if being really, really talented is enough. The creative economy is broken, but some people are still trying to make it work. We're here to find out how. I'm Anna Marie Cox.
And I'm Open Mike Eagle, and this is Past Due. Hello, Paul. How you doing?
Mike, I'm doing okay. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good. I like the way you said okay. It sounded very authentic.
Yeah.
Like it sounded like that's the right answer.
Yeah, and it's a decent okay, you know what I mean? It could be worse, could be better.
I like to say I'm doing okay in Trump adjusted terms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all things considered is another like non-political way to frame it.
Yeah.
But
so this is Past Due, and a lot of the conversations that we have in this show sort of originate in the feeling of being scared about money. Like that is where a lot of the conversations come from. And it's interesting for me to talk to you, Paul, especially because there were a couple times last year where you wouldn't even know it, but you saved my bacon a couple of very substantial times. And I'm thinking like, oh, Paul wouldn't even have known how worried I was around those times. Part of the reason we're having this conversation on this show is to sort of demystify conversations around money and build in a little space for us all to be scared together. And we all know you a bunch of different ways, from live shows, from podcasts, from acting work that you've done. And from the outside looking in, you seem to be doing pretty damn well. But,
secure, successful. Those are two different things that we've talked about. That being
Very
secure
true.
and successful are not the same things.
God damn, that's true.
So behind this facade, are you secretly worried?
Oh yeah, I'm worried all the time. When I started in show business, it was a completely different industry than it is now, in ways that were completely unpredictable and moved so fast. Once things started changing in a certain way, it moved so fast that running to alongside that bus is very tricky. And I'm at the point now where I can look back and say I've embraced a lot of the new things that came along. Luckily, I enjoyed them. So that was good. Like a thing like podcasting was a thing where I really liked the medium. And it came along at a time where first it was a fun thing to do, a good way to kind of let people know who you were. And then money started coming from it. And it was like, oh, thank God, because I don't have anything else going on. And there was a sort of embarrassment about it, I think, at the beginning, because it's like, well, I got into this business to be on the TV, and now I'm doing this, and it's a very maligned medium where everybody's making fun of it. And as much as I still respected it as a medium, there was that feeling of, am I sort of a failure at the thing that I set out to do, because primarily I'm doing this. And as time goes on, you don't give a shit about appearance. You don't care about that stuff anymore. You know, especially as you come into your own as an adult, you're like, I don't care what other people think about this. I'm managing to support myself and my household, and I'm also enjoying myself. You know, I'm having a good time, and I feel creative, and I feel like I am giving everything that I have to this, and I feel that it's appreciated. And it really has helped me reframe my idea of, I'm not going to say reframe. I think it's helped me get back to the reasons that I wanted to do any of this in the first place was I wanted to have a good time not having a regular job. I wanted to have a good time being creative. I wanted to dictate my own terms as much as I possibly could. And I wanted to make stuff by myself and with people that I enjoy. And, you know, there still is, I'm not going to say there's not still, you know, the sort of self-consciousness about it sometimes. And I'm certainly not going to say that there's not fear about it a lot of the time, you know, because the other thing that's come along with how fast the business has changed is any of this could go away at any time. Yeah. And there was a period when I first started working in TV, and I was very fortunate that I got out here at a time when a lot of creative stuff was happening. I fell in with the right group of people who were all kind of getting here at the same time and wanting to create things. And then within a couple of years, I got my first big showbiz job. And since then, I have not had to have a day job, and I have just continued to survive, sometimes thrive, sometimes really white knuckling it till the next gig, learning about fucking managing money, which is a thing I never got taught. And just kind of, for the most part, living in a nice way, you know? But at the time when things were going really good in the TV industry for me, where I was working, things would come and go, but there was always the thing in the back of one's mind that something will come along. It always does. Now, I don't think you can say that. I think you have to be the thing that comes along. You can't just assume like, you know what, because things have always worked out before, they'll work out again. I'll have lean times, but something will come along. That's not necessarily true.
This is a theme for us.
Yeah.
For the two of us, because I think, you know, both Mike and I have had, this is the difference between success and stable, right? Like,
Yes.
We all three have had, I think, from the outside, successful careers, right? And one of the things that happened to me is that I got to a certain point where I was like, oh, this is how my life is going to be. Like, I'm going to be making this amount of money-ish, right? I'm going to live at this level. I'm going to like, no, you know, and again, like, even if something goes away, like, I'm now in this place, like, I'm in demand. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've got the reputation. In the industry, I didn't realize that one of the things I was counting on was the fact that the industry has existed for hundreds of years and will continue to exist in some basic same way. And then in the past few years, and I'm as quote unquote successful as I've ever been. But the instability has been, that's been the thing to manage. And so I just want to ask you, I'm just going to ask outright. So when's the last time you felt like, oh shit, like I don't know how I look at my future, and you can do it. For me, I judge by quarters. I try to be like, okay, I have this quarter covered. Okay, I have this quarter covered. So whatever your way of thinking about that, when's the last time you were like, ugh, I don't know.
Today.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had a pretty good year last year, mostly because of the Comedy Bang Bang tour, because we did an extensive tour, and we were playing good size houses, and we did a lot of them, and I was kind of amazed at how substantial the payday was at the end of that. I did other tours as well last year that were not as lucrative. And I'm getting ready to do that again, a not lucrative tour.
We will give you a chance to plug at the end. Don't worry.
No.
That's that's part of the show, is making sure that we.
Yeah. But I'm very much in a place where I'm trying to build something again. Because I don't know what's going to happen, and this might be, being out on the road might be my only source of income. I don't know. And the podcasting stuff really helps. It helps keep me above water. But like anyone who is not wealthy, I'm one illness away from being wiped out. My wife and I, something could happen tomorrow, and that could be the end, and then with TV, it's like, I can't count on that anymore at all. Through one thing and another, the way the business has changed, like my foot is not in that door anymore, and I've kind of, not that I've given up on it. I still want to do it, but I'm not waiting around. It's like, I got to do something. I can't just assume that's going to happen. I don't get auditions anymore. If I get TV work, it's because somebody is a fan of podcasts, and they think it would be nice to stick me in an episode of a thing. But there's the VO stuff, which is the voiceover stuff, which is really nice and plentiful, but you do have to do a lot of it to add up to like, okay, good, our insurance is covered, but like, hearing that After Midnight is canceled, that's like a show that's like, man, I could count on that for like a few times a year to go on that show, and now that's going away. And it's like, that is an extremely valuable thing, because that's me as me, so that's me promoting me as a thing that people might want to know about. And that going away is like, nobody's doing that anymore. There's no other kind of showcase like that on TV, and nobody's looking to make one. Even stand-up, which was a thing that I felt, well, I'll always have stand-up. I'll always have that to fall back on. And I took a long break from stand-up because I started to realize that wasn't true anymore. That my cachet in that world has diminished. And when I was looking to do a special of my most recent hour, nobody was interested. There's all these platforms, and it's like, wow, nobody. And eventually Comedy Central licensed it, which was, they gave me some money. And the idea was I would produce the special with that money. If there's any left over, I would keep that money. And it's like, well, of course there was none left over, because it's expensive to produce a special, So that was a thing that was really jarring. And I have to say, I don't think I felt truly that sense of stability or knowing my place in this world since then. I've just felt like I'm starting back from the beginning in some ways, and in other ways I'm spent. Like, people are just like, no, that guy's over, there's no interest anymore.
This episode is brought to you by Factor.
Cold days, big goals, absolutely zero interest in cooking? Factor makes healthy eating easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs.
No planning, no grocery math, no what did I buy this ingredient for?
I love that Factor has quality, functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats.
And there's so much variety. Over 100 rotating meals every week, including the new Muscle Pro meals, if you're doing strength stuff.
And they support your diet, whether it's high protein meals, Mediterranean, whole ingredients, healthy fats, or more. Plus, there are no refined sugars or artificial sweeteners.
I've looked for something like this for a long time, and Factor really is the best.
It's good food that tastes great and is ready in about 2 minutes, always fresh, never frozen, no prep, and no stress.
Head to factormeals.com/pastdue50off. That's 50 off.
And use code PASSDUE50OFF to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year.
Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only, varies by plan. 1 free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
Okay, you talked about live touring last year, and I had the pleasure, privilege, and like I said, you saved my bacon by having me on some of those with you last year. I'm surprised to hear you say that they weren't uh, incredibly lucrative for you. I'm looking at my year this year, and I'm planning a lot of tours as the way to produce substantial revenue for me. I'm curious on those. I did a bunch with you, full houses. People were loving them. What was the reason why those weren't necessarily doing what you needed them to do financially?
It's the overhead is so much different from a thing that's a live improv podcast where the tech needs are so few, and and also the ticket prices were pretty good for
I see.
Comedy Bang Bang.
I see.
For my show, I try to keep the ticket prices as low as I can. There's still it sucks, man, to deal with the corporate entities when there's venues that are like, we use Ticketmaster and that's it. So either play here or don't. The navigating that world, trying to deal with all these details. I want people to be able to see this show because I know that there's a lot of my fans don't have a lot of money. You know what I mean? That's just where we are as a country right now, is that, everybody needs comedy, and I don't want to be performing to just people who are, kind of comfortable. I want to, because they don't need it as much. But so that you are limited in terms of the places that you can go. Then there's also, okay, what if I play a smaller place, but I do it a couple nights? Now you're talking about putting people up, right. And with a tour, there's multiple people, and that runs into money. And so it really is like the combo of trying not to gouge people, and also trying to play to as many people as possible, and having to rent equipment, having to rent vehicles, all that shit. Because, Bang Bang, we rented like a big SUV and we drove around. And then with music, you got that equipment, man, and that has to be transported, and that's a bigger vehicle. It just, everything adds up. And I didn't lose money on it, but I did not really make a lot of money on it. I more than broke even, but I would not say like the profit was did not blow me away.
Are you going to do it any differently this year?
We're just doing more places. I mean, that's really the biggest difference. We're doing more places, So it is a, driving is cheaper than flying. So we are going to be on the road in that way a lot, which thankfully I don't hate. The people that we have are good people. It's a pleasure to hang out with them. And there's nobody involved that's, one of those people that gums up the works, that has, is crabby or complainy or difficult, So, it's, I feel like I'm in a, definitely a take it as it comes, make the most of what you got situation. And there's also the idea that I'm building, that if people come out to this tour, then I can do this every other year, and then every other year I do the Bang Bang tour or something else. If I can build another stand-up hour and tour on that, then great. But it's definitely in a place of I'm not taking anything for granted, and I have to do it all by myself. I can't wait for anything else.
So, I have had the pleasure of being on stage with you once. And I sometimes use it as an example, very sincere, of what it's like to be on stage with someone who's actually a comedian, like a really good comedian, versus someone who, I will say, I think I'm pretty funny, like, and looks aren't everything. I mean, I think that I am clever, right?
Yeah.
And I know that in the world of political writing, I'm definitely funnier than your average, scribe.
1000%.
But like standing next to you and watching you do what you do, I was like, okay, so that's what it's like to have to be a professional at this. You were so great. I don't know if you remember, we were reading like reviews of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was I remember.
Yeah, it was amazing to see. Like I did okay, I mean, I did fine, and then it was like, oh my god, this person's turning this into like, something else that I can't do, and I wanted to mention that for two reasons. One is Wits, which of course is no longer with us.
Pour out some liquor from Wits for Wits.
Absolutely.
Pour out a little liquor.
Yeah. And we love John Moe.
Yes, we do.
Mutual friend. His podcast, very good, Depeche Mode. And he also has the Sleeping with Celebrities podcast on Max Fun. I did a big story about how Hollywood is changing. And one of the things that came up again and again when I talked to people was that comedy is the most imperiled of all the ways that streaming is changing things.
It truly sucks.
Yeah, that the half-hour comedy show, like I First Got to Know You, Mr. Show, like that would not exist today. SNL would probably not.
Oh my God, no.
After Midnight, that got, getting canceled. Like, and I think, Mike, you've said something about this too. Like these shows where you get a bunch of writers in a room to produce like sketch comedy or just variety comedy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, which is not that expensive.
No, it's not.
But it somehow is just the way the system works.
Yeah.
It's disappeared. Like,
yeah, a big problem is that the networks, streaming platforms, they look at everything as what overseas value does it have as well.
Right.
And the conventional wisdom is that comedy does not travel well. And so you can't necessarily make a comedy show here in America featuring American comedians and have it play well anywhere else. That's why you have, franchises like The Office, where every country has its own version of The Office, but they're not necessarily watching our version of The Office, even though we watched the English version of The Office. It's because everything is now run by business people, and they are just bean counters, and they're just following an algorithm, and they literally don't stop to think about what people might like. They're just going by math and saying, this is what people like. So they're not dealing with might at all. They're saying, if we go by these numbers, even if this thing fails, it's not our fault, it's the numbers' fault. You know, everything told us this would be a success. Now, there's always been a certain amount of that in showbiz. You know, the studio executives, they've always had notes. TV executives always had notes. There's always like, here's what we think in our years of experience, what the public likes, you know. But there used to be people who specifically got into those businesses because they liked those businesses and they wanted to be a part of it. And so they had thoughts, they had their ideas, they had their notes, but they were at least coming from a place of, we are in the same business. And I got into the business because I watched TV, because I watched movies. And that's why I want to do this. It's not, I came from fucking, you know, whatever paper towels company. And now, you know, because I rose up the ladder in 3M, now I'm the head of a TV network. And here's what I say, you know, and it's all bottom line shit. And you have removed the, it's not even that you've removed the creativity. You've removed the interest in creativity. And that's where it all fucking falls apart.
It's 30 Rock in real life, right? It's
Yes.
Jack Donaghy actually took over the networks.
Yeah.
Right.
They make fucking movies and then they throw them in the trash and
Yeah.
nobody ever gets to see them. That's
no one makes money
insane.
off of them. I did a fairly deep dive into the strike and the new contracts and into some of the detail about why those movies get thrown away. It's because they don't make any, you don't have to pay anybody anymore, right? Like if you throw it away, none of the actors will make any more money off of it. You've just paid them one shot.
Yeah. And
so,
let me tell you something, residuals, that has saved me so many times.
Yeah.
So many times. And I'm not talking about, you know, huge residuals. I'm saying that it adds up. It adds up. So you get little checks here, little checks there, and then you put them in a pot and you're like, oh my God, thank God. I can, you know, I can cover my rent or my mortgage or whatever because of this shit that I did a million years ago that they're still sending me, you know, I get a check for $25, you know, and that is the idea that they're trying to make that go away. And you know that if they can figure out a way to do that, they will do that.
Well, they basically have, right?
Yeah.
Like the streaming residuals, if people don't know, this is nuts. It's only if a show gets 20%, I think, of viewers, subscribers to that platform within 2 months of premiering.
Yeah.
So if like the Suits, anything that like suddenly goes viral that's over 2 months old, I mean, and the history of residuals is that they were intended to take people through these lean times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And hard fought. The last time SAG and AFTRA went on, writers and actors went on strike about the same time was 1974. And the fight was over video cassette residuals.
Yes. Yeah.
And prime time residuals.
Yeah.
And nailing down some like more healthcare stuff. And I actually want to point out for people too, I think this stuff is really interesting, like the nitty gritty of it, is the way that the unions work with healthcare is you have to work a certain amount, right? So if you don't get a certain amount of work, and it's pretty good amount from my understanding, like,
yeah.
I think it's 40,000 for writers.
Yeah. It's based on money that they used to pay people.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And they don't pay that money anymore.
So given all of this erosion of the industry in all these ways and all the different ways you've had to sort of pivot and take advantage of multiple creative platforms to push through, what is it that helps you from getting burned out in all of the ways that you have to find creativity constant?
Honestly, it is it's when I get to do it. That's really the thing, is that as much as I'm stressing out about going out on tour, I know that when I'm doing the shows, that's why I do the shows, you know? It's that feeling. It's that the whole reason. Also to have been doing it for so long where I feel like I feel the years of experience. I feel the learning. I feel every lesson that I've ever learned. I feel all the accumulated hours of doing this, trying to get better, wanting to get better, and all the skills that I have, applying them, it's more than just satisfying. It's completely soul feeding. And, you know, I don't fucking know what's going to happen. And if I have to sell my house, I have to sell my house. You know what I mean? If I have no, if we have to move out of Los Angeles, I would hate that. I love living here. We have a life here that's beyond just, oh, we're here because that's where the business is. I mean, the business is not here anymore. But it turns out we love living here, and we have a community, and, you know, we like walking around our neighborhood. And if it comes to it, you know, my wife is an actor, and we'll fucking station 11 it. We'll go from town to town and say, will you please give us dinner? And we'll give you a show, you know, like the thing that keeps me going is they're never going to completely take this from me. And as bad as it may get financially, as much as I may have to give up the nice life that we have built for ourselves, if that's what changes, that's one thing, but you're never, ever, ever going to take from me the thing that I can do. You're never going to take that from me.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Are you looking to reclaim your health? Tune into the Real Foodology podcast, hosted by me, Courtney Swan, integrative nutritionist and real food activist. I'm on a mission to transform our food system by challenging the corrupt practices that undermine our health and replace them with choices that genuinely support our well-being. Listen to Real Foodology podcast on your favorite podcast app. New episodes every Tuesday.
Hey, if you're enjoying this conversation, we have even more. Patrons get access to extra content, advice, insights, and the wild stories that didn't make it into the main episode.
So if you want to hear more from today's conversation with Paul F. Tompkins, including his dumbest money decision ever and a surprisingly smart investment he made that paid off big, subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/pastdue. You'll get exclusive extras, extended interviews, and first dibs on upcoming surprises. Now, back to the show.
I have a question for you, though. Back to money. So I have friends who are, you know, not necessarily in the same exact line of work as I am. Some normies, jobby jobs, I like to call them. And sometimes when I get all like, pay the mortgage, like, I don't know, like credit card debt, etc. This happens more than once. This happened fairly often. They'll be like, why don't you go into consulting? What is the comedy equivalent of someone being like, here's a thing. I have an idea. My dad once told me, why don't you become a teacher? Which means, well, you know, I've had friends who suggest, why don't you get a day job? Which doesn't make sense for me at this point. I mean, when I was in my 20s, it made some sense to have like a retail job that, like, you know, a day job. Like, we all know what day jobs are. So what is a thing that well-meaning people tell you, advise you, that's actually not an option?
It's been a long time. The thing that would happen was that my mom or somebody would tell me their suggestion would be something like not even adjacent to like public speaking. You know what I mean? I remember I went home for Thanksgiving one year, and I had been working on Mr. Show on HBO for 2 years and had been nominated for an Emmy for writing. And we were sitting at dinner, and my mother said, you know, your uncle could teach you how to tune pianos. And I said, why would I want to learn how to tune pianos? She said, so you have something to fall back on. And it's God. You know what? I can't say that it's my path I can't say that everything's taken care of forever, but there's clear indicators that this is working out, and for comedy right now, it's like, I guess the only thing I could think of is to become some kind of YouTuber or
I get that too. I've gotten that.
right.
Well,
I
yeah.
actually do
respect
it.
to the YouTuber among us.
Yeah. It's no disrespect, but it's like, it's a different thing, it's a different thing to go in and create content in that way. And I just don't know. I mean, if I were to give somebody advice, I would say, I guess, learn how to tune pianos. I don't know. I really don't know. I could see teaching. I could see that. I could see going into some kind of arts teaching, but then it's like, is that going to be a thing soon? I just don't know. There are people that absolutely hate the arts, like hate the idea of it. And I think that there's some people for whom it's not entirely a jealousy thing, but it is like, why should you get to do that? Why should you? I don't like my job. Why should you get to like your job? And I understand. Like that's a that's a fair question, but the answer is, I'm not trying to like my job so you don't like your job. This is just where life led me. I'm sorry if your parents believed in you more. I don't know. I'm sorry if your family was smaller. I'm sorry if you said something and people listened to you. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Paul, we're about wrapping up here, but there's a thing we like to do on here that we call the moment of despair.
You like to do this.
We do. We secretly enjoy it. But it's asking our guests if there's a particular like low career moment that sticks out in their mind, like something that just did not work out well at all.
Yeah, I think that, with stand up along the way, man, there's so many bleak times on stage. Not even I got paid shit for that gig. It's like, wow, these people despise me and I have to be on here for another 40 minutes. A huge low point for me is honestly, I think the lowest and the most despair I've ever felt was I did a pilot for Comedy Central, and it not only didn't go, but the head of the network called me on the phone before it officially didn't go to tell me that he didn't think it was going to go. And he didn't think it was going to go because of me.
Get the fuck out of here.
And that the way I was perceived and the way that I came off, and that audiences would not respond well to me. And I was like, I don't know what to do with that information other than process it as I'm done. Right. I'm cooked. Like, this, if my personality, like the general way that I am, isn't good, and also feeling like, well, this is the one place where I had a shot, wow. And they're telling me, no, you're done here. That sent me into a spiral for literally years.
The idea that he would take the time out of his day, to make that personal phone call.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what would have motivated that.
I puzzle over it to this day. And this was a guy that when he left that job, there were all these gushing notes about him from various people saying, like, this guy, when, my show was going to get canceled and he just greenlit it because he liked it. And like all this shit, like he really stood up for me and he blah, blah, blah. And I was like, do I say something? This guy carved my soul in half.
So what are you, so that, you said you chewed on that and did not enjoy the taste of it for quite some time. What kept you going through that dark period?
That's when I got into improv.
Mm.
And I said, I'm not going to say that I had this conscious thought, but knowing that, having that feeling, I dove into something where I would not be alone. I could create something with other people. And also I think my soul needed to learn a new thing.
Mm.
I think I needed to go back to not knowing something and be creative in that way and have the excitement of discovering something new and discovering something new about myself. And even though these, of course, were not conscious thoughts, it was just I gravitated towards that. I think because that's what I needed in that time. Was I needed to be reassured that I needed to be reassured that I was not done. And I think learning a new thing was my brain telling me you're not done. And I really think it saved me. I really think it saved me. I didn't have to think about, it gave me something to think about that was not me as a person, me as a solo entity. It got me to think about me as a creative person and me as a person who was still aware, still still on the search, still still hungry, and still wanting to be fed. And I really do think that saved me, and it gave me it built me up. It built me up because here was a new community that I was adjacent to, but not really a part of. And the fact that they welcomed me and they treated me like I was one of their own, and they allowed me the fucking grace to fail. It also helped me let things go, because it's all about being in the moment and not like kicking yourself because you made a mistake or you made a bad choice. It's about saying like, oh, okay, I see what I did there. And then you learn for the next time, you don't dwell on it. It's all about not dwelling on it. And I needed to figure out how not to dwell on things.
Yeah,
And
especially in this town that will constantly scoop you shit.
absolutely.
It's good to have a tool in your belt that helps you be able to let go of stuff.
Oh yeah. And it affected all aspects of my life for real. It really, and like doing a tour of my own with, a show that I'd never done on tour before. When bad shit would happen, things wouldn't work out the way they were supposed to. I forgot a thing that I needed to have, like whatever. I could let go of it in that moment, as opposed to letting go of it 5 years later, lying in bed and like, why didn't I bring that adapter for that microphone stand? Then I could say, oh, well, so, okay, I know what to do here. I'll do this instead, and that absolutely invaluable. And and in my personal life too, it helped me realize that this is not something that I need to hold on to. This is not something that I need to eat me alive from the inside out. I can let this go. So what? That's not the point of any of this, is that it's supposed to be perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect.
A friend of mine said something to me a long time ago that I have to relearn so many times, sometimes multiple times a day, which is a lot of times it feels like we're on a high wire, like the precarity, balancing a lot of different things, and you're going to fall and everything's going to be over. That the truth is that the high wire is laying on the ground.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That you can fall.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, you'll get back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paul, anything you got that you want to promote, please promote as much as you would like.
Thank you. I am very excited to be bringing my variety show, Varietopia, on tour around the country. We're doing this year over 20 cities, including a couple stops in Canada. It's a variety show. It's got comedy, music, other forms of entertainment, other media involved. It's a really, really fun show. I hope that Mike can attest to that.
I absolutely can. It was
Mike's
fantastic.
been one of the greatest friends to this show. And it's just a fun night out. It's like we're trying to do it's all about entertainment. We're just trying to entertain you for 90 minutes. And it's my favorite thing that I've ever done. It really is 100% from my soul. I get to do all the things that I like to do on stage in one night. And I can't point to anyone who's come away from it not having had a good time. The crowds have been terrific, and we're really excited to be bringing it to more places this year. And it starts in Iowa City on April 23rd. And then we go from there.
Are you coming to Austin?
We're not coming to Texas this year. I'm so sorry.
You should come while you're still allowed in. Like
before the mothership's doors close.
But before we have the separation into red and blue, and
I know. Before both of our states have become their own countries.
Yeah.
Well, Paul,
we'll get there for sure.
This has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you for being so giving and so damn delightful as always. And just on a personal note that I want to say, ever since you answered my cold DM in 2011, you've been one of the greatest people that I have met in this town. So thank you for being who you are.
Oh, Mike, likewise. Thank you so much for reaching out that time, because I'm so happy to know you. Anytime I get to hang with you, and especially be on stage with you, is so thrilling, so much fun every single time.
Thank you very much. And, Anna, we got to get on stage more. I think she's got the bug now.
Well, I was going to say, so I actually tried improv when I was doing my immediate post-divorce revenge body, revenge life.
Right.
This is a period for a year after the divorce. I ran 3 times a week. I went to the gym. I took a ballet class and I took an improv class.
Mm-hmm.
And my experience with improv was I did not learn to let go.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit miserable. I want to do it again,
mm-hmm.
because what I learned was it was clear that I needed to do what you're talking about, which is to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Fail. It's maybe
yeah.
To allow myself to not be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I also to allow other people to not be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also to realize the point of improv isn't always to be hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think I wound up actually being okay. I got good feedback. When we performed.
I could absolutely see that.
I did well, and I got people, I had trouble taking it in, because I'm like, oh, you're just telling me that. And then I realized, no, in comedy, people probably don't.
No. Boy, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's
people aren't
very
coming
true.
up to you in the lobby and saying they enjoyed it just to make you feel better.
Yeah.
But it was kind of miserable, because I was just so worried all the time. So I want to do it again for the reasons that you're talking about.
I think you should. I think you'd be natural at it, and I think that there's so much to be taken from it. The thing about other people not being funny is such an important thing, because it takes a while to get to that point where you're okay with your own failures and realize that other people are okay with it too. And then I'm as you say that, I'm realizing there is a moment where you get it when somebody else tries something and it doesn't work, and you understand. You get oh yeah, you went for it. Yeah, it didn't go. And you realize that's just a thing that happens. And you're not judging that person. You're not judging yourself. You're like, oh yeah, I've been there and I'll be there again.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big turning point.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll be sure to invite y'all to my shows.
Please.
Oh, I'm coming. I'll be there.
Please flyer me.
But thank you so much, Paul.
Oh, guys, thank you. This was really cathartic in a lot of ways. Thank you.
Well, it's good to hear. Take care. Hopefully see you soon.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Thanks so much for listening to Past Due. We want to hear from you. Find us at pastduepodcast.com or on Blue Sky and Instagram at Past Due Podcast.
And since we've been talking to Paul F. Tompkins about the ups and downs of making a living as a creative, we know you've got your own stories. Please share with us the gig that made you question your entire career.
Either on social media or in a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. We'll read some of our favorites on an upcoming episode.
Your support means the world to us. So if you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share Past Due with a friend. It really helps us keep these conversations going.
Past Due is hosted by Anna Marie Cox and Open Mike Eagle. It's produced by Andrew Stephen. You can find more at pastduepodcast.com. Help support the show by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/pastdue. You'll get bonus content, extended interviews, and more. As always, if you like what we're doing, another way to help is by subscribing, sharing the show, and leaving us a review. Thanks for listening.
Stop doom scrolling. Start decoding the tech, rewiring your week and your world. The Interface is the BBC's fiercely informed, fast, and funny take on how technology is changing everything.
Hosted by journalists Tom Tremaine, Karen Howe, and Nikki Wolf, each episode unpacks week by week the unfolding story of how technology is shaping all our futures. No guests, no jargon, just three sharp voices debating the tech news stories that matter. Whether they shook a government, broke the internet, or quietly tipped the balance of power.
As TikTok shifts geopolitics, Trump drives digital shockwaves, Elon Musk expands his space internet empire, and AI reroutes the routines of everyday life. The trio asks, what world are the tech titans building for us? And do we want to live in it?
Find The Interface from the BBC wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes it feels like red and blue states are just as divergent as post-World War II East and West Germany. So what can the US learn from German political history in order to create a more perfect union? Find out on the new season of The Future of Our Former Democracy, the Signal Award-winning podcast from More Equitable Democracy and Large Media. Hosted by me, Colin Cole, and Heather Villanueva. It's time to rethink democracy. So follow The Future of Our Former Democracy wherever you get your podcasts.